Hi, third graders, and welcome back to another Richmond Math lesson. I'm Mrs. Yeager, and today we're doing day 2 of SOL 3.14. I can list the probable outcomes of an event and describe the likelihood of an outcome. But first, let's have our joke. If lights run on electricity and cars run on gas, then what does Chase run on? Give up? His paws. So silly. The materials you're going to need today are paper, pencil, easy. And then just like we did yesterday, if you want, there's a cube handout or 2 coins so that you can experiment after the math lesson is over. So let's get on. Let's look at our learning target one more time. I can list the probable outcomes of an event and describe the likelihood of an outcome. Ooh, I see a new probability word today. That word outcome. So we need to figure out what that means. We had yesterday impossible, unlikely, equally likely, likely, and certain. And today we're using that word outcome. And an outcome is the whatever event could happen. So let's look at it a little bit more. So here is a number cube. What are the outcomes that are on the number cube? What could I land on when I rolled it? And I took it apart so that you can see. Well, the outcomes could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? There's one of each of those numbers in the number cube. So if the outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, what is the chance or probability that you would always roll a 6? What word would you use? Remember, we have impossible, unlikely, equally likely, likely, and certain. What word would you put there? I would say unlikely that you would always roll a 6 because there are 5 other numbers. So, you know, Ms. Yeager wants to do an experiment. So let's see how my experiment went. Oh, but first we have to make our prediction. It would be blank that you would land on each number. So if I'm going to roll it 10 times and I want to land on at least a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6, what would you say? I said equally likely that I could land on a number. So let's do our experiment. You ready? Okay. 6, 6, 2, 5, 2, 4, 2, 6, 1, and 4 again. Okay, those are my 10 times. And I almost got on one of every number. I never got any 3s that time. That's interesting. I did hit the 6 3 times and a 2 3 times. So that showed me that it was equally likely, but sometimes our predictions don't always come out. So let's look at probability in the real world.
Nobody relies on the weather report like a farmer. Tree fruit, like peaches, are sensitive to the rain, so it is important to harvest them when they are ripe, but before a big rain. Farmers look at the weather report to see when is the best time to plant and harvest their crops. The job of the weather reporter is to make predictions about what the weather will be like in the future. Predicting the weather is a real-world example of probability at work. Let's look at a 3-day weather forecast. On Monday, it will be sunny. There is no probability of rain. By Wednesday, it is certain to rain. On Tuesday, the skies will be cloudy and there is a 50% chance of rain. Even though there are clear skies now, there is a chance that it will rain on Tuesday. This forecast is an expression of probability and tells the farmers they must work quickly because the probability of rain increases from unlikely on Monday to very likely on Wednesday. Probability is a measure of the likelihood or certainty of an event.
All right, I want to think about that, what she just said. Probability is a measure of the likelihood or certainty of an event. So even weathermen, grown-ups, are using probability in everyday life. So here is an experiment I want you to try. If you look on your worksheet, the first one is the coin toss experiments. And you're only using one coin for the first two experiments. But I have it here because I want you to see that the coin has two possible choices. One is a head and one is a tail. I can't land on anything but heads or tails, right? So what would be the probability of landing on heads? Would you say impossible, unlikely, equally likely, likely, certain? What do you think? Equally likely. It would be equally likely to land on a head or a tail. So I'm just going to show you how to do the first part of the experiment. So here's my coin. I'm going to flip it and it is landing on a tail. So that's my first toss. So I'm going to write my 1 mark there under the first toss. Here's my second toss. I'm going to flip it and it's going to be a heads. And so I mark it like that. And I'm going to do that 10 times. And I'm going to total up how many times I landed on heads, how many times I landed on tails, and see, did it come out about even? The second part for experiments 3 and 4, this time you're using 2 coins. So you can, if you look down there, you could have 2 heads when you tossed them. You could have 2 tails, or you could have a heads and a tails. And you're going to do the same thing. Just mark down what your answer was and find out what that is. But what would your prediction be? What do you think would be the most likely thing to happen? You're going to have to experiment. So today, we were listing the probable outcomes of an event and describe the likelihood of an outcome. So I hope you have fun experimenting with coins today. Have a great day. Bye.